We're live and welcome to the Inner Harbor Cast, everybody. My name's Skip Clark. I'm live, and that's a good thing. I'm in the studio, as you can see, the Wolf Studio behind me, and I got Brad Paisley looking over my shoulder. But most importantly, I am joined by she's definitely not a stranger to Central New York. We're so proud of her. Siobhan Fallon Hogan is with us, and that name sounds really familiar, right? Because I'll tell you, SNL back in the early 2000s. Am I right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's right. You're right.
Men in Black, Forrest Gump. You got The Negotiator, Holes, Daddy Daycare, Going in Style, The House That Jack Built. Shall I keep going?
Yeah, people always love Seinfeld too. That's always a big one.
You were in the early episodes of Seinfeld, correct?
Yes, it was Elaine's roommate.
Tina. Was it Tina?
Tina, yes.
I love it. How was let's start from the beginning. So you grew up around here. You went to Lemoyne, correct?
I went to Lemoyne. I was born in Syracuse. I went to Salem Hyde Grammar School, and then we moved out to Cazenovia. Mm-hmm. Then I went to Lemoyne College, and then from there I went to Catholic University down in D.C. for my master's in fine arts and acting, which is a weird way of saying, pretend you're someone else for 2 years. Then I went to New York City.
Well, it all worked out well for you, obviously.
It was a rough road, but it so far so good.
What isn't a rough road, though? Think about it. Whether it's doing what you do or doing what I do, it's a rough road.
It is. My kids are in their 20s now, and I think your 20s are supposed to be the glory days, and really they were so rough because you're like, what am I doing? And people are always asking you, what are you doing? You're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Just trying.
But you made it. And it's a lot more than some others can say. You've got kids. You've got this place now in Cazenovia. Are you on the lake?
I am not on the lake.
Oh.
I'm a people person, so I'm right in town. So I'm like a block from the Braylock. I like to get here, park my car, and I don't like getting back in it. I just like walking around and seeing people.
Well, do you know that there's a big stone house like on the corner where you make if you're coming from Syracuse, you make the right and you go up into the Cazenovia proper. There's a big stone house with a gate in the front. That was my aunt's house way back in the day.
No way. And then the college bought that.
Yes, exactly.
That's a beautiful house. That's the Jepson. They call it the Jepson house now. And, now that's all in that Caz College up for sale, but no one knows what's happening. Who knows? Know. That's a gorgeous house.
Yeah. We had, we used to have our family reunions there because there's like a big gymnasium in there.
Yeah.
And we had the big tree and all that. And
I'm 3 minutes from there, a walk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Been there. Spent a lot of time there. I go to Cazenovia quite often. But it's so cool that you're joining us here today. Shelter in Solitude, independent film. It came out just a few months ago.
Yes.
And when I watched the trailer for that, I noticed there's a lot of scenes that might be Syracuse related.
Oh, yes. So it came out. We produced it. My husband, myself, my son, my daughter's production designer, my son's and my daughter's. Anyway, but we got picked up by AMC and the Regals, which was huge for an independent. And now we're on Amazon, Apple, all that streaming. Mm-hmm. And we filmed it. The jail's in Syracuse. The exterior jail was Jamesville Penitentiary.
Wow.
The other scenes were in Cazenovia and then Erieville, the Blue Canoe. Have you ever been to the Blue Canoe restaurant?
Yes.
Fabulous.
Yes.
That's where my bar was. I'm a washed up country singer who owns a bar. That's where my bar was. Perryville. So it's all over the area.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So how hard is it to put something like this together? You pretty much said, it was all within the family, your husband, your son, yourself, but you got to put all these pieces together. What is that like? What does it take?
It's like a circus. So this is my second film. So Rushed, my first film we did down in New Jersey, and that was like sort of the test, but I was naive and really was just like shooting from the hip, what do they say? Shooting from the pants or whatever.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Anyway, so what happened with that was I wrote the script and I sent it to Robert Patrick from The Terminator, who's a good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
He really liked it. So then I sent it out over to Denmark where I'd done several movies. And this producer's like, I'll help you. And I started raising money. So then that movie did very well. It's on Amazon now too, and all those platforms.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So this movie, Rushed came out August 2021, just at the end of COVID. And I thought I'm taking a break. But just before it came out, Shelter in Solitude came to me. So I thought, My dad was a lawyer from Syracuse, one of 11, the Fallons.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the Fallons in Syracuse.
Yes.
My uncles are all oral surgeons. My dad was a lawyer. He was really, really funny. And he also represented a lot of really tough prisoners.
Mhm.
And we go past the Jamesville Penitentiary every Sunday. We go to see our cousins, the Sullivans, out in Pompey. He'd tell us about these prisoners he had. So I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder what's like in that prison. Like, what are the relationships like? And then my father wanted me to be a country singer too. So this idea just came to me. What if there's a guy on death row who has 10 days left to live, and I am the guard, and I'm this washed up loser country singer? And then I was like, I got to have Robert Patrick back in there because he's such a great actor.
Mhm.
He's in Rushed, and
Mhm.
been my friend for 30 years. Then we got Dan Castellaneta, who's the voice of Homer Simpson. My son Peter plays like a loser cop, like a kind of like a Gomer Pyle type.
Okay.
And so that's where the whole story came from.
Now, when I watched the trailer for Shelter and Solitude, there's one of the scenes is the lights are flashing in a prison. Is that Jamesville?
That is not Jamesville. That is downtown. So my sisters, Megan and Sheila,
Oh.
are attorneys in Syracuse. They had a client who's a former prison guard.
Mhm.
And I called him up. They gave me his number. And I said, hey, do you know of a prison that would be available that maybe we could get into and maybe use to shoot? And he said, he's like, when does it take place? I said, well, it's supposed to be kind of like, kind of dreamlike, kind of Southern, but you don't know, but it really should be a throwback, like the 60s or 50s. Said there's a really cool prison on Montgomery Street that was shut down. So it's right in downtown behind the police department. And it's been defunct for a long time.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Oh yeah, it is creepy. There's like the scratchings and all the
Mhm.
on the walls. And we went in there in July 2 years ago, and it was sweltering, and it's creepy. Like none of the jail cells would open because it was the old crank system. So my friend Jack Griffiths from high school, he helped me out and got two of them to be operational, because you could get locked in there for the day. So we
Mhm.
shot there for a week. And the word was, look, don't try to open any of the cells, because number one, they don't open. But the two that my friend Jack fixed, don't shut the doors because they might not open again.
But I mean, you get pissed off at somebody,
Yeah.
it's like, oh,
And
good luck.
I'll tell you, you go in there, they
Yeah.
could like have kids spend an hour or two in an empty prison for a day,
Mm.
and you'd keep your life pretty clean, because the noise level, just the echoing, like you think of these prisoners and like how bad it's got to be. Like
Yeah.
there's no quiet, you hear everything echoes. Matter of fact, I sing in it, because I'm supposed to be a country singer.
Right.
And
Right.
I say to the prisoner who wants nothing to do with me because he's on death row. So he's like, why would I want to talk to you? So I sing to him, and I'm like, my God, the acoustics are good in here, because they really are. But because of that, you'd go nuts listening to that.
Wow. Wow. And talking about that, so you got a big star to sing the song, or you took a song and used it in the movies.
Yes.
And then you did your part with that as well.
Yeah. So crazy. So my son is he's a music manager anyway. He manages like Shaggy's son, Rob Banks, this guy, Fat Nick, Riff
How
Raff.
cool.
Really cool. So now the movie comes along. I'm supposed to be a washed up country singer. He's like, let me get in touch with some guys out in Nashville. So Justin Biltonen from
Mhm.
3 Doors Down, he hooks me up with him. Now I'm a music idiot. This guy's huge. So and this other guy, Todd Cameron, I fly out to Nashville after the movie's made. We knew we had the song. So we had it in the movie, and I had to kind of like mouth it till I went out and recorded it and sang with him.
Mhm.
So I was in a sound booth. My father, who was in heaven, must have been like, I told her to be a country singer, the idiot. So anyway, so we sang this song, Heartache Rodeo. And we just released it on Apple and Spotify and all that, like 10 days ago. So anyway, so we have really great music in the movie.
It's called Heartache Rodeo.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to give that a spin on the Wolf here in town.
You got to give it a spin.
Your family that's here, they're big fans of the Wolf, you said.
Oh, big, huge fans. So this is the deal. So I'm like, so the song comes out, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, guys, I need to get who's great. And my niece, Siobhan Biggs, she's named after me, Siobhan Bigsby. She's like, you got to get on the Wolf. You got to get on the Wolf. So how crazy. So I called up, spoke to Becky, and I'm like, hi. You could tell people like, who is this weirdo? I'm like, hi, my name's Siobhan Fallon Hogan, and I'm from the area, and I filmed a movie here, and I was on SNL, Men in Black. I have this whole spiel. My kids are like, if I hear that
she
one
told
more
me.
time.
Okay.
And then she's like, all right. And then you called, and I was like, okay, see?
Yeah, exactly. And we will we'll do something with it here on the air. So
That's awesome.
But we're talking here today. We're doing it by way of virtual, which has become a big thing since COVID.
Yes,
But,
which I have.
yeah, I was just going to say that's pretty much why we're doing this. But you look great, you sound good, and I pray that everything is okay.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people, everybody handles it differently. So,
oh yeah. No, listen, I'm from a
yeah.
big Irish family, so you were never allowed to feel sorry for yourself. It's like you're not that sick. Like my husband left this morning.
Get out
Don't
of
forget
bed.
to take
Let's
the
go.
recyclables and the garbage. I was like, hey, guy, I mean, what this COVID thing's not getting me very far. But, oh wait, one thing really important to say is the movie is now streaming on Amazon and Apple. And we have 5 stars, and Rotten Tomatoes, we have 98%.
You took the words right out of my mouth because I'll be totally honest with you. I have not seen the whole movie yet. All right.
Oh, you got to see it.
I know, and I'm going to because my wife and I were sitting on the couch last night. Not that we do that very often, but
yeah, I get it.
You know what I mean? It's like she's usually on the other side of the room and I'm on the couch. But last night we were sitting together and I went to Amazon Prime Video and I went, oh my God, there's the movie.
I know it's
I'm going to be talking to Siobhan tomorrow.
It's so weird.
So I watched the trailer and that's where I got some info. But I saw it had 5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars.
Yay!
I know. Thank God. Well, here's the deal. I think it's a movie that's perfect for this time because it's about hope and redemption. You got a guy on death row. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't like the great white hope. He's really the hero, Peter Macon, who plays this role.
Right.
By the way, it's directed by Vivica Messiah, who's great from Denmark.
Cool.
And this guy, Peter Macon, who plays this role, he was in the TV show The Orville, but he also played Othello all over the world. He's like this incredible, he's like a young James Earl Jones. Then Robert Patrick gives a star turn. My son Peter gives a star turn. But you know what it is? It's all broken down people who are good people, who are just trying to do their best to change. And it's a really good message, especially for this day and age when people are, so divided and split, because these people are like, when you only have 10 days left to live, you can forget about what your beliefs and your divisions are. Like, why don't you just get down to the core of what's important?
Yeah, exactly. How long are you in town for?
I am hopefully in town till at least Sunday or Monday.
Or when you test negative.
I'm riding this COVID thing. I'm trying not to go back as long as I can.
And when you say go back, where do you go back to?
New Jersey.
Yeah.
But I wrote a play actually that's really being read. Well, this is crazy. So we did the premiere of the movie out in Nashville. Was so exciting. We're on this rooftop singing with Justin Bill Tone, and we do the movie. And Patty Heaton from Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yes.
So she comes to the movie and she's like, oh my gosh, I love the movie. And I was like, okay, that's crazy because I wrote a play and I really wanted you to play the part of my sister. So anyway, she read the play. Long and short of it, we have a big reading in New York next week to see if this can be like a Broadway play, but that's a whole other story. Hopefully I'll be back next year talking about that.
Yes, that'll be awesome. That will be awesome. You're always welcome here. Believe me, now that we've gotten to know each other a little bit and knowing that you're from the area and, you're here for a little bit. Do you get noticed when you go out and about? People go, hey, there's Siobhan.
Well, listen, I do. And I make it now that I wear only Shelter and Solitude. I make my kids, I am so shameless. No. This is so pathetic. But, my kids are like, Mom, social media. I'm like, look, I don't really know how to do that. So my social media is carrying in a Ziploc bag, little cards that say Shelter and Solitude. But then I wear all the merch. I wear the sweatshirt. But the best is this one.
Okay.
I taped the Shelter in Solitude poster to the back of my car. And I made my kids.
No.
Oh my God. I made my kids take it because my aunt's in the hospital up at Community, drive it and park it. So everybody who went by it was like, hey, why is there a poster on the back of that car?
But that's awesome. Look at the attention that you got.
Right there. Advertising.
Yeah. I mean, I don't need to tell you, Siobhan, that that's great marketing because you're going to
Yes.
get the attention of everybody. They're going to go, what's that?
Yeah, I'm like one
And
of
they're
those
going to
little
look it up.
planes that goes by in New Jersey, like, and you're in a plane that has like Miller beer, but it'll be like shelter and solitude.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So pretty soon I'll probably see a plane flying overhead with a banner on the back, shelter in solitude.
I have no shame. It's like
I love it. Oh my God.
I'll go with my daughter shopping, and they'll be like, "Oh, hi. Oh, aren't you the actress?" I'm like, "Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, there's a movie that you should see. It's great for the Christmas season."
And if you don't know, it's shelter in solitude.
Yeah, my daughter's like, "It's only the 20th time you said it, and you act like it's the first."
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. You got to be such a cool mom.
Oh my gosh, who knows?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm not domestic. My house is a disaster.
Oh,
I
well,
I
welcome
have
to
a
the
Christmas
crowd.
tree with about 4 ornaments on it and just lights.
It doesn't matter. It's you. That's all that
Exactly.
matters. That's all that matters. Tell us a little bit about your SNL days just a few years ago, like 20.
Like 100? Yeah. So, well, it was first of all, I have such gratitude because, SNL opened up so many doors for me.
Right.
So for movies, I mean, like right after I did Forrest Gump and Greedy and
Mhm,
Men in
mhm,
Black. So
mhm.
for that reason, and I met great friends. Chris Farley was a really good friend of
Oh
mine.
my gosh.
Yeah, David Spade, Chris Rock. I was in a really great group. Um, it was really competitive, really because
I bet.
it's mainly stand-ups. I'm an actress, so stand-ups are by nature very competitive because they're in the clubs and it's like cutthroat. So, and I am not one of these complainers, like I am woman, hear me roar. But it was just accepted that in those days, it was like we got the 8 guy sketches. Now, where's the female sketch?
Mhm,
And then we need the black sketch. That's the way it
mhm.
was. And you didn't
Mm,
say anything. You're like, all right, well, at least we get to be on the show.
well, you got a good point. I mean, I'd be like, nah, okay, I'm done with this. We need to
Yeah, I
we
mean,
need to move on.
I honestly
Was
just
that why
always
you got out?
no.
No? Okay.
I
You don't have to
I
go there if you don't want to.
no, it's okay. I look, I like I'm very specific about what I like and I
Mhm.
love comedy, but it was pretty uh rough for my taste. A lot of the
Gotcha.
material.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
So
I know exactly what you mean.
that being
Yeah,
said, I never had any fights. Lorne Michaels was great. He put me in
yeah,
Baby Mama years
yeah,
later.
yeah.
But I'm not. I don't like getting into a lot of material that
No,
I don't like.
right. No, I totally understand that. SNL's all over the place. They can go from, I mean, they go pretty deep sometimes, and sometimes you kind of wonder, yeah, I don't know. At this day and age, I don't know if I'd be going down that road.
Yeah,
But
I mean, there was a sketch, this Italian restaurant sketch, and I got called. Everything's nocturnal there,
right.
and in the middle of the night, I was called, and they're like, Siobhan, they want you to play the part, and let's just say it was filthy, and I was like, listen, I don't want to be dead. They're like, what? I go, my
Right.
father will kill me. So anyway, that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. How do you go about getting a spot on SNL?
So what happened for me was this. I was weird looking and I auditioned like crazy for all kinds of things when I was in New York City. And
Mhm.
basically, everybody was like, you're going to really work in your 40s. You are really going to work. You have a deep. I'm like, I can't wait to my 40s. So I got into this improv comedy club. So, and we did improv every Saturday night. It was called Who's on First. It was
Okay.
really popular. Like, whatever. The director said to me, why don't you write a 1-person show? I had no idea how to do that, but I was like, hey, listen, I'm not working. I might as well try. So I
Mhm.
wrote like 10 characters of characters I would like to play if someone would possibly cast me, which they wouldn't. And put it up, rented out a theater that was an off-Broadway theater, but on Monday nights when they were dark, meaning they weren't working, and invited a couple critics, and it did really well. And so then I took it to LA and I put it on there. I had $5,000 to my name because I was a receptionist at a law firm. I rented out this theater. Seinfeld came and SNL came, and that's how I got it. That's what happened.
Wow, wow. And how
Yeah.
cool. How cool is that though? SNL, I mean, like I said, yeah, they kind of walk that line once in a while, but then to know that you were on Seinfeld and then of course the bus driver in
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump and wow, what was it? I remember you as the bus driver and the door opening up
Yeah.
once we got talking about this, Becky and I were talking about this. It's like, yes, that's her.
Yeah. And I was like, you coming along? And I was young. They had to age me because I was young and old. This is Bus's school. And then they'd be like, okay, now we're going to age you. I was on that movie for so many weeks because I
Yeah.
was what they call the B unit. So they would only get to me when they weren't doing like the big scenes. So then they'd get to me like, oh, we got called back to the other, the A unit, which
Mhm.
was great. But they would have to, for the old scene, they'd blow dry my face and put wrinkles in. And then like, Siobhan, we're not going to get to you. We're so sorry. And I'm like, I'm so glad. But now I look at that and I'm like, I kind of look like how I looked when they blow dried my face to make it look old. I'm like, what happened?
No, I
It's
thought it was
so
great. I
it's
thought
so
it was.
weird. No, it was awesome. I loved it. And Mary Ellen Zemeckis, who was Bob Zemeckis, who directed that,
Uh-huh.
we were in the movie Greedy together with Michael J. Fox before that. And she's like, my husband is going to be doing this movie. Do you know my husband? I was like, no. She's like, oh, he directed Back to the Future and Romancing the Stone, all these movies. I was like, oh, you don't say. Anyway, I go in. I was supposed to play the part of the babysitter. And I was like, look, I'm not playing the part of the babysitter. I should play the bus driver because I rode the bus my whole life. But I had a history of doing that where I'd go in like Men in Black. I was supposed to give birth to the alien. And I was like, no, I'm from Syracuse. And I know a lot of farmers. I should play the farmer's wife.
Did they even know where Syracuse was?
I know. I don't know.
I don't know. I saw a clip. You were on late night TV and you were talking about Syracuse, and I thought that was pretty cool.
I
Um,
love Syracuse.
yeah, I can
It's the
tell.
best. It's the
It
best.
is the
People
best.
are the best.
Yep, yep.
Everyone's so supportive. When we filmed here, people were unbelievable. I mean, they'd be like, I was like, I need a house crew. You can have a house. You can have this. We'll bring food. I mean, the cops were unbelievable. Bill Lansley down at
Mhm, mhm.
the police department, unbelievable. Just
Cool.
yeah.
Good people. What do you got any more in the works, or are you already like moving forward with a follow up to Shelter in Solitude?
Well, I got this play coming up, but there's a possibility that Shelter in Solitude could be a TV show. So, which would be great. So that's a possibility. So that's the kind of the next thing after we get the play rolling.
Yeah. How do you feel about all this streaming that's going on? I mean, you got Amazon, we've got Hulu, we've got all the different platforms. Your movie is now out there on streaming. And how do you feel about that as opposed to what it was years ago? Is it easier?
I really wish it was the way it was years ago, to tell you the
Really?
truth.
Why?
I do. Here's the deal. I think COVID really hurt the movies because everybody got big screen TVs. They realize they can stay home. It's a lot
Yeah.
cheaper. I think the movies are in trouble. Like every time I go to see a movie, there's not a lot of people in the theater. I went and saw, what was that? The Flower Moon movie. And you can hear Taylor Swift blasting through the wall. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like the movie theaters are becoming for people who can't afford to go to concerts to go to the movie theater. If you can't afford to go to the movie, it's not that you can't afford to go to the movie, but are you going to get off your rear end and go? If you can
Right.
stay, you can stay home and watch it. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Which is really a bummer because the feeling of going to the movie is just special.
Yeah. How often do you sit down and talk to your agent or whatever you need to do to say, what's next for me? Are you in contact with somebody every day? I know you reached out by yourself here.
Oh yeah.
You made the call, but
So
I mean, obviously you got other people that do that for you.
yeah, well, mainly you see, it's weird because I'm an actress,
Mhm.
and now my husband and I formed a production team and a distribution team. So that's totally different than my agent. So
Gotcha.
so it's we had a publicist for Shelter and Solitude. I was on Seth Meyers and a lot of shows like
That
that.
was the show I was thinking about, Seth Meyers. I just couldn't, I drew a blank.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So for the period of the movie. But then I don't keep a publicist, because
Yeah, I get
it's
it.
expensive and I don't know.
You
I mean,
can do
people
it.
are either gonna like me for who I am or it's or what am I gonna do? Go around, I don't know.
I love you already. I mean, this is pretty awesome. Absolutely. Absolutely awesome. So how do you cast your own extras and do all that as well? Do you do
Yes.
it all? You do it
Yeah.
all.
So
You do it all.
for Shelter and Solitude, I sent out so there was the scene in the bar, which was, as I said, the Blue Canoe in Erieville.
Love it.
And I sent to my class of 1979, because we had a reunion sort of recently. and they all seem to run together now. And said,
Tell me
who
about
wants to be an extra? So literally people came from, I had a friend come from Colorado, Connecticut, all over. They were all the extras. And then like at the Janesville Penitentiary, just people just want to be extras. But you have to be very specific about your extras. They have to look right and their clothing has to be right.
Ah.
So I look at every minutia. Now I have people helping me, like friends, but I'm like, we have to look at every costume that they're going to bring because it could take your eye and it could ruin the movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One
Okay.
thing I'm really, really into is locations, and I did do all those myself. So like a year before, I'm like I saw a house in Casanova, and I was like, "Ooh, that house looks really good for my house. Wonder what the inside looks like." Knock on the door. Turns out it's this woman, Mary Judd, who I know from growing up. I was like, how would you like to have your house in a movie? I love it. Let me look at it. Meanwhile, it's perfect. We didn't have to, because a lot of times when you go to a movie, you'll see a set. You're like, this looks like a set. It doesn't look like the authentic movie and all those pieces of the puzzle make the movie a success.
Wow. Just crazy. Everything that goes into what you do.
Yeah.
Everything that goes into what you do. So you haven't sneezed yet.
I haven't sneezed yet, which is pretty good.
I know. So I was just kind of asking, but it's so good talking to you today. Shelter in Solitude is the movie. Siobhan Fallon Hogan, right there. You're looking at her. Look at that. And you know what? She's in our backyard.
With my big, giant Irish head. Also, if people like Shelter and Solitude, Rushed is awesome too, and that's still available on Amazon.
I'm like comparing my head to your head. See,
my head is enormous
too. But
my grandfather, my grandpa Egan, who was from Syracuse,
yeah,
and he was a big, he was very responsible for building Syracuse. He was Egan Real Estate, and he was one of the first founders of Lemoyne College.
Real Estate. I paid them a lot of money, by the way, when I run an apartment from Egan Real Estate.
So back in the day, he and his family, they were like, just like, it's the word. There's no such word as Syracuseophile, but loved Syracuse. But this all goes back to his head. He had a gigantic head. And then I ended up with a gigantic head. And my daughter, Bernadette, when I birthed her, the doctor came in and he said, "You see this piece of measuring tape?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "This is a normal baby's head." And then he took his fingers and they kept going. He goes, "You just delivered a fire hydrant." I was like, well, that's funny because I feel like I just delivered a fire hydrant. So we have these gigantic heads.
Oh my God. You're such a pleasure to chat with and to find out more about the movie Shelter in Solitude. You can rent it right now. You can go online, go on your television, go to Prime Video. It's all right there. And it's cool. So did you see it in the big screen? I mean, you went to Nashville for the premiere, but you said it was picked up by AMC?
AMC and Regal. So, Oh God, this is crazy. So we had a big Regal did a premiere for us in New York City on October 6th.
Uh-huh.
So as I was telling you, we have merch like sweatshirts and hats and all this stuff. So we live down in New Jersey. So my husband is like an insane driver. And at this point, I am exhausted because we've been to Nashville. We did Manlius Theater was awesome to us. The guys from A.W. Wander who run the theater, they're amazing guys. We did a premiere there because we wanted to, show it to all the people that we know from here.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time we're to the October 6th premiere, I'm like The Walking Dead. I got the fake eyelashes on. I got like a stupid outfit on. I'm trying to look like, I'm an actress. And in we go. And we stop at the John Bon Jovi gas station in Syracuse on the Garden State Parkway. New Jersey. On the Garden State Parkway. And the guy says, I hate to tell you, but your car's on fire. I'm like, what? Sure enough, we open the window. We're like, oh my God. So he's like, yeah, you better pull your car away from the pump because it's going to blow. So I'm like, who does this happen to? So we pull it away. The car is fully on fire. Long and the short of it, we got to get to this freaking premiere. I'm like, ditch the car, get some water on it, get the merch out. So now I think it's kind of funny because I always think things are funny. And my husband's like this psycho New Yorker with a thick accent. And he's calling Ubers. He's like, yeah, I need an Uber. And so one by one, they're canceling. When I say one by one, I mean 4 of them. And my son, who I called and told him, said, Mom, film Dad, hold your camera, hold your phone horizontally. We can use it because we have a making of the movie. Uh-huh. So I'm thinking it's really funny to the 4th Uber cancels. And I'm like, dear God. So I'm like, this is bad. We got to get, suddenly my phone rings. and it says Attitude Limousine. I'm like, oh my God, it's a miracle. So he goes, where are you? And I said, New Jersey. And he says, I can't come out there. Well, I'm like, well, we got to get to the premiere. He's like, what premiere? So he's like, I'm the limo driver from the Seth Meyers show. You left your shoes in my car. I go, oh my God, my car just caught on fire. Anyway, long and short of it, it was just a 3-ring circus.
Oh my God. It's hilarious though.
Yeah, but a guy pulls up who it was my son's best friend's father from grammar school.
Oh
We go,
my God.
Dan. He says, I got an emergency. I have a bad prostate. I have to go to the bathroom. We go, we got an emergency too. We're supposed to go to a premiere. He goes, well, let me go to the bathroom. I'll drive. And he drove us into New York.
Wow. Wow. What a story. You know,
Crazy.
I mean, it's serious. I get it. It's serious. But you look at it from a different angle and you have to laugh.
And I'll tell you what, I don't like going fast in a car. And he said, I'm going to tell you something. I'm
Close
going to
your
get you
eyes.
there on time. And he said, hand on the Bible. My father was a race car driver. Well, when I tell you, and I'm not exaggerating, we went 100 miles an hour. I was like, this is so bad.
On the
But
Garden State Parkway.
it was terrible. And he was going over like where you're not supposed to go. And he goes, that's a 6-pointer right there on your insurance. So then he said, I'm going to put some music on. What would you prefer? And I thought the last thing I can handle right now is like acid rock or something like that. So all I could think of was, I said the Bee Gees. So
Mhm.
he started playing Staying Alive, but he was dancing while driving. It was insane. And he got us there on time.
He did. That's all that matters. And everybody's alive and they can tell the
Alive and
story.
well, we
So,
got to the premiere.
yeah, exactly. Siobhan Fallon Hogan, thank you for your time today. Shelter in
Thank you.
Solitude. Oh my God. It's just an honor to get to know you, chat with you. Great comment.
Anytime. I really appreciate you supporting the movie, and I appreciate the support of the Syracuse community
Yes.
and Madison County, Onondaga County. Everybody's been awesome.
It's so good to know you. And
Oh,
it's like, what?
I forgot to say,
Yes.
follow us on Instagram at
Okay.
Siobhan Fallon Hogan or at Shelter in Solitude.
Shelter
And
in
if you
Solitude.
do like the movie when you watch it on Amazon and everything, give it a review and give it some stars.
I will do that. You
Thank
can
you.
count on me doing that. But thank you for having us on.
You're the
or
best.
joining. I said having us on. Thanks for watching. It's not the case. Should be the other way around. Yeah, there you go. Well,
And
thanks
Happy
for
New
joining.
Year.
Happy New Year. That's right. You got plans? Just gonna I guess it's kind of dumb.
Well, we'll see. It depends on if I test. Don't test, don't tell. But I got to test again because I don't.
I know. Just take.
And
You know,
listen,
big thing. Take care of yourself. That's
oh
all.
yeah. God bless. I appreciate you.
Right back at you. Drink lots of fluids.
Yep.
A box of
Will do.
tissues, and you're good to
Thanks
go.
so much.
Siobhan Fallon Hogan joining us on the Inner Harbor Cast today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay right there. You're awesome.